We were on Krebs cycle. You already know. So this is not what. So you already know we have already done Krebs cycle. First step between Krebs cycle and glycolysis. So from pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A is not. This reaction is not part of Krebs cycle. This is a sort of bridge reaction. We have done this bridge reaction, pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme A. And now let's see what are the sources of pyruvate today. So pyruvate, the pyruvate comes not, it is the chief source of pyruvate is glucose. But pyruvate can come from alanine, because you see this pyruvate is, if you can see, remember the structure of pyruvate, don't forget it. This is double bond and carboxy and then CH3. And if you see, compare this pyruvate, it is actually amino. It is a keto acid. It is a keto acid of amino acid. Which amino acid? Alanine. This is alanine. Can you see the similarity between alanine and this pyruvate here? Can you see? Both have 3 carbon.
Yes, sir.
Carboxy, only difference is one has keto group, pyruvate has keto group, and alanine has amine group. And that is why alanine and pyruvate can interconvert into each other. So you can see two-way reaction. So pyruvate our body can obtain pyruvate from alanine. And lactic acid, you can see that if you reduce this pyruvate, so pyruvate alcohol will come here and this becomes lactate. So remember this, all 3 structures, they are very similar structure. Slight differences are there. Pyruvate, lactic acid, and that is why from lactic acid pyruvate can be formed, and from pyruvate lactic acid can be formed, and from pyruvate alanine can be formed, and from alanine pyruvate can be formed. That, remember this very important concept. Now this is also a very important reaction. An enzyme name is malate enzyme. From malate, this pyruvate can be synthesized. After releasing of NAD, one is NAD. This is also a type of oxidative decarboxylation. So what will happen? Malate is a 4-carbon compound. I'll write here, draw here malate. So this is malate. Malate is a 4-carbon dicarboxylic acid with 1 oxo group, 1 hydroxy group. So you can you see this malate? Very similar to lactate plus COOH. Lactate plus COOH. So this is malate. Malate will release carbon dioxide and NADPH. So this reaction we will study in pentose phosphate pathway. And these are the sources of pyruvate. These all are important. These all concepts are important. So here you have seen what else? The glucose, we have already seen the source of carbohydrate, this pyruvate. Other sources are alanine, lactate and malate. Alanine, lactate and malate. So from alanine, this is pyruvate can convert into alanine, and alanine can also convert into pyruvate. Just remember, there is one, when it converts, ammonia exchange is there. Just ammonia exchange will be there. And here lactate can convert into pyruvate can convert into lactate. Now this is a irreversible reaction, and this is also irreversible reaction. This is catalyzed by malic enzyme, this is catalyzed by, you already know, this is a product of glycolysis. So these are 4 sources of pyruvate. Remember this very nicely. These are 4 sources of pyruvate. And then pyruvate. Yes, any question?
Sir, but most of the process in glycolysis are reversible, no sir?
Most of the process of glycolysis is irreversible. You are right, but there are 3 irreversible steps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, but you're considering the whole process as irreversible. No,
let's see. I'm talking about that same thing. Oh, there are 3 irreversible steps. Okay, that 3 irreversible step makes this glycolysis irreversible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you what will happen if you take this into account? This whole nature of reaction completely will be irreversible. See, once this fructose 6-phosphate converts into fructose 2,6-bis-phosphate, do you by a irreversible enzyme called a rate limiting enzyme,
phosphofructokinase.
Yeah, one. Can you imagine this converting back into this fructose 1-phosphate in
No.
fed condition? Can
No.
you imagine? So this is irreversible. Now let's talk about last reaction, phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate. This is also an irreversible reaction, isn't it? Irreversible reaction.
Another doubt, sir.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, but phosphofructophosphatase will reduce, no, sir?
But that is what yesterday I told you. Yesterday, was you there?
Sir, no, sir. Yesterday my internet
that is why you have this confusion. Yesterday I told them. So some reaction, glycolysis and gluconeogenesis does not happen together. Glycolysis in liver happens during fed condition. Yes, and I have given reason. I'll upload that video, and then you go through those videos, then you will understand that. Glycolysis and gluconeogenesis, what you are talking about phosphatase, is it happens during fasting condition. Phosphatase enzyme is active during fasting condition. In liver, I'm using the context of liver, just remember. So in hepatocyte, the phosphatase is active only during fasting condition, not during fed condition. And this enzyme is active during fed condition. So this phosphatase, the counterpart enzyme phosphatase, fructose 2,6-bis-phosphatase is actually inactive. Is inactive. Did you get this?
Okay, sir.
That is why the reaction will be completely irreversible. Did you understand?
Okay, sir.
Okay, this during we are talking about fed condition, glucose glycolysis. It is irreversible step during fed condition. Though some reaction are reversible, but the whole nature of glycolysis will be irreversible because of these 3 rate limiting steps. Okay. Now, did you understand this sources of pyruvate?
Sir.
So this is very important. So these are the sources of pyruvate. Now pyruvate, after converting it into acetyl coenzyme, it will convert into acetyl coenzyme, and this acetyl coenzyme, majority of this pyruvate will convert into acetyl coenzyme A, and some pyruvate can convert also in oxaloacetate, because oxaloacetate is required for glycolysis. Both are required for Krebs cycle. Both are required for Krebs cycle. Isn't it both required for Krebs cycle?
Yes, sir.
Both are required for Krebs cycle. See, pyruvate will convert into oxaloacetate. Very few amount of pyruvate will convert into oxaloacetate, and majority of pyruvate will convert into acetyl coenzyme. So that is why we talk about this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex and this reaction in very much detail. So I don't teach that detail also in MD1 student, because I want you to understand very basic things. That is why I talked you in very detailed aspect of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. This pyruvate carbo, this enzyme, this reaction is also very important reaction. And pyruvate, this is a ligase. If you have gone through the enzyme chapter, I have already discussed about this pyruvate carboxylase enzyme. So pyruvate carboxylase enzyme, if you remember this as pyruvate and pyruvate carboxylase, why I'm talking you, I'll tell you. So before, if you understand about this, you will understand about Krebs cycle very easily. Now this is a what? Oxaloacetate. So name comes from, this is oxalo, the 2 is oxaloacetate. So oxaloacetate is synthesized from pyruvate. This is 3 molecule compound. This is a 3 molecule pyruvate. So pyruvate, and this is CH3. So can you see a bit structural resemblance up to this? Can you see? Everyone? Pyruvate and this pyruvate? Can you see
3 carbons?
Yes, just tell me.
3 carbons.
Yeah, here up to 3 carbon only. between oxaloacetate and pyruvate, up to 3 carbon in oxaloacetate. Can you see a structural resemblance with pyruvate?
C double bond O.
Yes, C double bond O, COOH, and this CH2, here CH3, only that difference. So they are very similar. What happens is, one carbon dioxide will be added here. And this carbon dioxide is added by the enzyme called pyruvate carboxylase. Pyruvate carboxylase, PC. I am writing it as PC. And this is a biotin containing enzyme. Vitamin biotin containing enzyme. So wherever you see in your body, wherever you see a carboxylase, just remember this is a ligase. When I talk about ligase always require ATP. So I have done this in enzyme chapter. So ligase always require ATP. By utilizing ATP, this ligase carboxylase add carbon dioxide to them. So pyruvate, this is how pyruvate converts into oxaloacetate. This compound formed is called oxalo. This part, you can call this part as oxalo and this part as acetate. That is your oxaloacetate. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
So these two reactions are very important reaction. So conversion of pyruvate to oxalo, very few amount of pyruvate will convert into oxaloacetate, and majority of pyruvate converts into acetyl coenzyme. So we have already dealt with these two reactions. Just remember this picture is very important picture. I am going to ask many questions from this. So I'll ask one. I can ask one question. Which of the following is not source of pyruvate? Okay. So sound is coming from somebody's place. Just take care about that sound because it is disturbing other people also. So you are doing something there and then that is making sound. So be aware of those things. I'm not telling you to just mute everybody, but if you want, you can mute also. But be careful about that because it is disturbing. Now, so this is, I already told you, this is a pyruvate dehydrogenase. You already know this. This is also pyruvate dehydrogenase. So it is an oxidative decarboxylation reaction. You already know. So important regulatory steps between glycolysis and Krebs cycle. This is a very important regulatory step. I told you how it is regulated. So it is this is 5 vitamins are required. So vitamin B1, B2, B3, B5, and in place of B4, I want you to remember lipoid. So this is B1 is very important for decarboxylation reaction. This is B1. The TPP or pyrophosphate or TDP, diphosphate. That is the same thing. So it is very important for decarboxylation. Now FADH, vitamin B2 and vitamin B3, they are very important for dehydrogenation reaction. So you can see oxidative decarboxylation, production of NADH and removal of CO2. So these are and then acetyl, this coenzyme is a pantothenic acid, vitamin B5. So it is taking this acetyl from this. So this is how many vitamins you can see lipoid coming with complex 2. So remember 5 vitamins come here, including lipoid. Remember lipoid as a vitamin B4. It is not vitamin B4, but remember as vitamin B4. So I have, you can, in the beginning, because you are in the beginning, you don't have to hurry and you don't also have to target this. That is why I told you to remember, go through the structure. So this is a structure of thymine TPP. So you can see a positive charge here. That positive charge is very important. This is a thiazolene ring and this is a pyrimidine ring. And that is both type of ring is present in thymine. So this ring is very important for actually decarboxylation reaction because it will attract electrons from the pyruvate and that will cause decarboxylation. So this is actually electrophilic attack on the pyruvate. It will attack here. And because of that, this will become an electron deficient region and that will make this bond weak bond. And that cause this bond to this pyruvate to release this CO2. Remember this. That is why B1 is very important for decarboxylation. Now, this is regulation. I have already told you product will inhibit. This is feedback inhibition, two things. And these two inhibitors also help this PDH kinase during fasting condition. This help this PDH kinase and convert this active form of pyruvate dehydrogenase into inactive form during fasting condition, prolonged fasting condition. Again, when you eat, this enzyme will be activated, and then it will again catalyze the conversion of pyruvate to acetyl coenzyme. I have already summarized this in very detailed form. And this, which two compound molecule helps this PDH phosphatase? One is pyruvate will help, pyruvate will activate, and second will calcium. So calcium, why calcium helps, how calcium helps, I have already explained. Now these are the activators I have already talked to you about. Let's see about the acetyl coenzyme. What are the sources of fate of acetyl coenzyme? You know the acetyl coenzyme A, one source of acetyl coenzyme is glucose. So do you agree with me? Glucose as a source of acetyl coenzyme A? Do you agree? Tell me, somebody.
Can you repeat it, sir?
Do you agree that glucose is the source of acetyl coenzyme?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So now this is in fed condition in liver. Now during fasting condition, when I talk about fasting condition, just remember prolonged fasting. In short, I am using fasting. Just remember prolonged fasting and starvation. I am talking about prolonged fasting and starvation. So in fasting condition, when I talk about well-fed condition, just remember well-fed condition. So the well-fed, if you eat little bit, that will have a different type of metabolism. So I am talking about, I am separating metabolism in two distinct parts. If you separate the metabolism into two distinct parts, then you can understand that gray part also. First, you have to understand by distinguishing very distinct parts. So fasting condition, what is the fuel in our body? What is the fuel in our body?
What, sir?
During fasting condition, what is the fuel of our body? Main fuel.
Glycogen.
That is during early fasting condition. When I told you to remember, when I
Fat.
talk about fasting, remember prolonged fasting.
Fats.
Fat is the main source. So when I talk about fasting, remember prolonged fasting. Okay. So in fasting, early fasting, okay, glycogen will provide, but that glucose will be spared completely for brain and RBC. Not all tissue will not. Muscle is the predominant tissue. 60% of the tissue mass is composed of muscle. That muscle does not utilize glucose. Remember, during prolonged fasting condition, when you don't exercise, it will not utilize. Resting muscle will not utilize those glucose. It will utilize fat. Adipose tissue, liver, and muscle will utilize fat during fasting condition. And this fat in fasting condition will produce what? Acetyl coenzyme A through beta oxidation. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So these are the very important sources of fat. These are the very important sources of acetyl coenzyme. And now, during fasting condition also, there will be production in liver, there will be production of ketone body. In fasting, prolonged fasting condition only. And this ketone body will be utilized by brain in starvation condition. Also by muscles. And this ketone body will convert into acetyl coenzyme. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So these are the sources of acetyl coenzyme. Just remember, fatty acid during fasting and glucose in fed condition. So these are the sources of acetyl coenzyme. Now, this acetyl coenzyme A in fed condition, This acetyl coenzyme A will completely change, you convert into H2O and ATP. Acetyl coenzyme will convert into carbon dioxide, H2O and ATP. I am not writing the number of ATP. So each acetyl coenzyme we will talk about that. How many ATP produces each acetyl coenzyme? About 10 ATP. So 10 ATP we can write 10 ATP. Now each acetyl coenzyme produces 10 ATP and 2 carbon dioxide and 2 water. So let's see this acetyl coenzyme during fasting condition. What is the actually role of this acetyl coenzyme? Especially we are talking about liver. So during fasting condition, from beta oxidation, liver extract energy, and this acetyl coenzyme A will not convert into CO2 and H2O. Rather, this acetyl coenzyme A will convert into ketone body. And this ketone body will go in other tissue, go out of the liver, and from liver other tissue will utilize this ketone body, convert into acetyl coenzyme. Did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Remember, so in liver, what I try to say is, during fasting condition in liver, fatty acid will convert into acetyl coenzyme. Further oxidation will not happen in liver. Rather, this acetyl coenzyme will convert into ketone body, and ketone body will go into blood. Actually, ketone body is a digested fuel, fast fuel. Fast, as we use the term fast food, same way it is a very fast food fuel for our brain, and brain especially during starvation condition and muscles. And this will convert, ketone body will convert into acetyl coenzyme in those tissues. So remember this mechanism. So we are talking about this conversion of acetyl coenzyme into CO2, and this is done in Krebs cycle. Now purpose of Krebs cycle during fed condition is energy production. But during fasting condition, is purpose of Krebs cycle is different. Fasting condition, purpose of Krebs cycle is remember I am always talking about liver. So purpose of Krebs cycle is in liver is gluconeogenesis. It is purpose of Krebs cycle is not to produce energy during fasting condition. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
So remember this very important fact. Now, so you have already seen Krebs cycle. It will produce the fate of acetyl coenzyme. It will produce ATP. The sources we have talked, and fate also. Fate of acetyl coenzyme is to produce ATP, and then also fatty acid synthesis during fed condition. So these are during fed condition. In fed condition, acetyl coenzyme will produce fatty acid. Also in fed condition only it will produce cholesterol, and in fasting condition it will produce ketone body. So these are the fate of acetyl coenzyme. Now you can summarize this all. So acetyl coenzyme A, you can get acetyl coenzyme A from pyruvate, and you can also get from fatty acid. I have already explained it. And some acetyl coenzyme also from ketogenic amino acid. This all happens in fasting condition, and this part is during fed condition. Now acetyl coenzyme A will produce what? It will form fatty acid. It will form what? Cholesterol from acetyl coenzyme A. It will join in fed condition directly. It will join citric acid cycle. In fed condition, it will form cholesterol. It will form fatty acid. But in fasting condition, ketogenesis. In nerve terminals, just don't forget this. This acetyl will be transferred to choline. It will form acetylcholine. and acetyl will also be transferred to some carbohydrate for synthesis of heteropolysaccharide. You must have heard N-acetyl glucosamine. Haven't you heard that term? Still
Yes, sir.
So there, acetyl is also utilized for heteropolysaccharide. So acetyl coenzyme is very important component. So these are the fate of acetyl coenzyme. So we will be talking about only citric acid cycle. So in next classes, maybe we will have cholesterol synthesis and fatty acid synthesis. But today we will talk about citric acid synthesis. But remember this overview of the production and fate of acetyl coenzyme. And don't forget this also. Acetyl coenzyme acetyl produces acetylcholine. Now, so let's talk about Krebs cycle. So Krebs cycle occurs both during fasting and fate condition, but the purpose is different. So catabolic purpose, after catabolism, glycolysis, after glycolysis, acetyl coenzyme will be produced, and this acetyl coenzyme will form CO2 and H2O. This is during fate condition. And then what will be the other function? This part of Krebs cycle is involved in fatty acid synthesis, and during fasting condition, the purpose of Krebs cycle is, what is the purpose of Krebs cycle during fasting condition? Tell me.
To form easy. Sorry, no.
Can you repeat, sir? Can you repeat it?
Yeah, please repeat.
Fatty acid synthesis and glucose.
What is the purpose of Krebs cycle during fasting condition?
To utilize the stored fatty acid and glycogens.
It does not utilize. I told you to remember. You people are not active, I think. That is why the purpose of this Krebs cycle during, remember, fasting. In fate condition, Krebs cycle produces energy. During fasting condition, gluconeogenesis, production of new glucose. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
In fate
Yes,
condition,
sir.
what is the fate condition? What is the purpose of Krebs cycle?
Energy production.
Good. Energy production. Fate condition. In fasting condition, what is the purpose?
Gluconeogenesis.
Gluconeogenesis. So these two things about Krebs cycle. Just understand these two basic things about this Krebs cycle. Energy production plus also fatty acid synthesis in fate condition. Energy production, if energy is sufficient, then what will happen? This energy will be stored in the form of fatty acid synthesis. Fatty acid. So energy production plus fatty acid synthesis. And if required, cholesterol synthesis. So this is the fate condition, purpose of fate, this Krebs cycle in fate condition. And in fasting condition, gluconeogenesis. So purpose changes. Purpose of Krebs cycle changes according to the condition, context. In fate condition, purpose of Krebs cycle is to produce energy. And also if energy is sufficient, then that the same energy will convert into fatty acid. And purpose of Krebs cycle during fasting condition is gluconeogenesis. Just remember this very important point. Okay? Will you remember
Yes,
this?
sir. Yes, sir.
And that is how Krebs cycle is active both during fasting and fate condition. It is active both during fasting and fate condition. That is why this pathway is called amphibolic pathway. Now, this Krebs cycle occurs inside the matrix of mitochondria. You already know matrix of mitochondria. From this Krebs cycle, there is production of carbon dioxide, NADH, and also one FADH. And there will be substrate level of phosphorylation also. So production of ATP, one ATP is also there. So this is the result of Krebs cycle. acetyl coenzyme may enter, and then one ATP production, and then NADH, FADH, and carbon dioxide production. Let's see this Krebs cycle in detail. So, do you understand Krebs cycle from this picture? I'll repeat it again. Let's see, this is acetyl coenzyme A, okay, CH2, and this is oxalo, this is okay, oxaloacetate. Now to this oxaloacetate, what will happen is formation of addition of this compound. So actually this the bond energy will be utilized from this, and what type of bond will form is this will form COOH, and this is a CH2, and then COOH, and then CH2 COOH, and this is a tricarboxylic acid. So this will join here and form this is a acetyl part. So this acetyl part will join here. You can see join here, and it will form. This is 6-carbon compound. Can you see this 6-carbon compound? Tell me. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Can you see this 6-carbon compound?
Yes, sir.
This is citrate, okay? 6-carbon compound, this is citrate. And that is why this is called citric acid cycle. And because it has got 3 carboxy group here. That is why this cycle is also called
Tricarboxylic acid.
TCA, tricarboxylic acid cycle. Now let's see what will happen then. So after this citric acid, there will be formation of isocitrate. So what isocitrate? So this is done by acotinase enzyme. This is done by citrate synthase. Citrate synthase. And this is done by acotinase. So what does this do? This changes the hydroxy group here, and that's it. And hydrogen from there here. So this change will be like this. So hydroxy group will be placed here, and then carboxy group will be like this, and then CH2 COOH. So this is done by acotinase. Now what will happen? Second reaction is there will be decarboxylation, and then the compound formed is alpha ketoglutarate. So this decarboxylation, this carbon dioxide will be removed, and there will be formation of alpha ketoglutarate. This is alpha keto, 5-carbon compound. This is alpha keto, and this is glutarate. So it is formed. Alpha ketoglutarate is formed. Did you understand up to this? This is done by isocitrate dehydrogenase. Up to this, did you understand up to this? Now, let me come here. So you will understand now. So oxaloacetate, here you can see oxaloacetate, with this oxaloacetate, this is fused. So this become a citrate. Did you understand this? Up to this?
Yes, sir.
So this molecule is like this. So you can remember citrate like 2C. Citrate. You place COOH here, OH here, and then this is citrate. Isn't it easy? Tell me. Isn't it easy?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you change this citrate here. Citrate will convert into isocitrate. So O group will be transferred from here to here. So you can see, you write to this OH group here will be transferred to here, and this is H only. So this is isocitrate. Please avoid that sound. Now, did you understand this isocitrate?
Yes, sir.
Now this isocitrate, what will happen will one COH group will be here from here. So OH CO2 group will be removed here, and this will become like this, and plus NADH is also removed here. Can you see this conversion of this into this? And this is alpha ketoglutarate. Now this alpha ketoglutarate will convert into, again it will lose one carbon dioxide here, and it will convert into succinyl coenzyme. This is succinyl coenzyme. So this will be lost here. It's 4 carbon, 1, 2, 3, and 4 carbon compound. So did you understand? This is succinyl coenzyme, you can see. This succinyl coenzyme A, as I have told you, this coenzyme is a high energy compound, high energy bond. When it breaks, it releases energy. So succinyl coenzyme A, this bond is broken, and this GTP will be synthesized at this step. So conversion of succinyl coenzyme into succinate will release a GTP here. So this form a succinate. Now succinate is a 4 carbon compound, you can see, and then you can see here 4 carbon, and then 4 carbon. So you already have seen release of 1 carbon dioxide at here. Conversion of this isocitrate to second step. This is first step. This is second step at third step. Third step you have seen conversion of isocitrate to alpha ketoglutarate. And here you have seen the release of 1 carbon dioxide. When this alpha ketoglutarate converts into succinyl coenzyme A, there you will see again release of 1 carbon dioxide. So this succinate converts into fumarate and release FADH2. And fumarate double bond is formed. Because FADH2, you can see that hydrogen is released from this carbon-carbon. Here, all places you can see the hydrogen are released from this type of bond, OH. Here also, if you can see NADH also released from this hydrogen is always from NADH. And this alpha ketoglutarate enzyme is very similar to alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. It is very similar to the enzyme of pyruvate dehydrogenase, PDH. And that is why you can see here, this reaction will require vitamin B1, B2, B3, lipoic acid, and B5. So, and here you can see this is oxidative decarboxylation, similar reaction to pyruvate. So from 5 carbon, 4 carbon compound is formed, and that 4 carbon compound also is containing coenzyme A. Now this compound, after release of ATP, because I have already told you this is a high energy compound, so ATP will be formed and GTP will be formed here, and this and GTP can convert into ATP, no problem, because energy is energy. So succinate, and succinate will release FADH2. So this is the only place where you will find the release of FADH2, and this FADH2 after release of this FADH2, this succinate will convert into fumarate, and fumarate will convert into malate after addition of water, and this malate will again convert into oxaloacetate. So this is a 8-step process. This is how all step happens. And this is the most important step, and it is very similar to pyruvate dehydrogenase step. So this is all about Krebs cycle. So there are 8 enzymes. First enzyme is citrate synthase. Second enzyme is ecotinase. Third enzyme is isocitrate dehydrogenase. And fourth enzyme is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Fifth is succinyl coenzyme A synthetase. Sixth enzyme is succinate dehydrogenase, and this fumarate and malate dehydrogenase. Now, if you can see here, so you can find here 4 dehydrogenase. 4 dehydrogenase. So first is isocitrate dehydrogenase, and second dehydrogenase is alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Now you can see third is succinate dehydrogenase, fourth is malate dehydrogenase. So you can see ICD, and here you can see alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Here you can see succinate dehydrogenase, and here malate dehydrogenase. So these 4 enzymes are there. These 4 enzymes, they are all dehydrogenase, and they are very important steps. So in glycolysis, we have seen 4 kinases were there. If you understand this 4 enzyme, so you will understand half of the glycolysis, half of the Krebs cycle. So at all steps, you can see the release of reducing equivalent. At this step, and this step, there are release of 3 NADH, and at this step, there is release of FADH2. So you can see 3 NADH release, and 1 FADH2 is released. And one more step is, you can see this step, succinyl coenzyme A synthetase, and this reaction is also called succinyl coenzyme thiokinase. This is also called thiokinase. You have already seen, whenever you see kinase, there is production of or utilization of ATP. So at this step, there is utilization of formation of GTP. So this is a substrate level phosphorylation. Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So if you remember this 5 step, you will remember everything, because citrate synthase you can easily remember. Ecotinase step, conversion of citrate into isocitrate, we can easily remember, and fumarate you can easily remember. So these steps are 5 steps are important step. You have to remember these all 5 steps. And here, this enzyme, succinate dehydrogenase, this enzyme is actually a part of inner mitochondrial membrane. This is a part of inner mitochondrial membrane, succinate dehydrogenase, and it is nothing but complex 2. This enzyme is nothing but complex 2. So this is all about enzyme, and you can remember substrate like this. This is citrate. Citrate will convert into isocitrate like this. So this will move here. This will become isocitrate. Now isocitrate will release COOH, and then NADH2 from this, and this will become alpha ketoglutarate like this. This same compound, this will be burned. So this is basically a burning reaction. You know, if you can remember, this is a burning reaction. And here 4 carbon compound will form. This is coenzyme A, 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon, succinate, and this will again change into succinate. So this succinate will convert into this fumarate, malate, and ultimately into oxaloate, regeneration of oxaloate. So you can remember the molecule structure in this way. So because this Krebs cycle is very important. If you command this, you will command many things. So don't ignore its structure. If you want to understand the concept, don't ignore the structure. If you remember structure from the beginning, your biochemistry will be very strong. So these are the enzymes you can see. You can see very similar enzyme. This is a very biggest enzyme. This is called alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. So it is very similar to pyruvate dehydrogenase. Now I have already told you these are the important steps. 4 dehydrogenases are there, and 2 dehydrogenases you will see decarboxylation, and at this place you will see formation of substrate level phosphorylation. I will ask question from these steps. And these are the irreversible steps. So first step is irreversible step, and then associated dehydrogenase. So it is a 3rd step, and then 4th step. So total 8 steps, 1st, 3rd, and 4th. These are irreversible steps in glycolysis. And as I have told you, complex 2, succinate dehydrogenase, is part of complex 2. So it is bound in the membrane, inner mitochondrial membrane. So you can go through this yourself. As I have told you, this this alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase complex is very similar to pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, because it has all these 5 components it utilizes. It is a oxidative decarboxylation reaction. Okay, and it is a rate limiting step. So you can see, it is a rate limiting step. Inhibited by, these are the inhibitor of Krebs cycle. Is stimulated by ADP and inhibited by ATP. The same way same way we have seen the inhibition. ATP and NADH will inhibit the reaction. So succinyl thiokinase, this is all I have already told you, substrate level phosphorylation, and succinate dehydrogenase is also part of electron transport chain. It is basically electron transport chain enzyme. It is complex 2, succinate dehydrogenase. So intermediates, these are the intermediates. Citrate are the intermediates that is utilized for fatty acid synthesis. Citrate will be utilized to fatty acid synthesis. What happens is, this is mitochondria.